Hello and welcome back everybody. Today is going to be probably a longer video than normal. I thought I'd do something different, something that I generally don't give too much thought to, especially when I'm deciding to buy new perfume. I'm going to talk about some of my favorite bottle designs and what I generally like about bottle designs, and also I've got a couple of bottles here from my wardrobe that I don't like. There are things that I don't like about bottle designs, and I thought this would be an interesting topic of conversation because I'd be very interested to find out what you guys like or dislike about particular bottles. But I just want to reiterate that really the bottle design is kind of the last thing that comes into calculation for me when it comes to choosing a perfume, because obviously it has to be all about the smell or the scent, the juice inside the bottle. But there are a couple of things that I want to show you and kind of explain why I like them and why I don't like certain other bottle aspects. So let's get started, and this is going to be all random. I've got a selection of bottles here from my wardrobe that I like, and I'm going to talk about these two bottles here. This is Opopinax from Santa Maria Novella, and this is Tabac Vert from Rogue Perfumery. Now, the reason I chose these ones in particular is I'm a big fan of the frosted glass finish in a perfume. I don't know why. I don't know where that's come from. I think it kind of lends a little bit of a sort of vintage elegance to it, even though it's not specifically a vintage perfume thing. But I really do like the look of the frosted glass, and even the tactile aspect of it, because it does feel different to a clear glass. And I just want to give props to Rogue because of their embossed labels, the fabric. I'm going to see if I can get this in focus so you can see for yourself. There we go. So it's just a nice looking bottle. And the Santa Maria Novella, which will get in focus, they've got that raised glass bit, I guess you'd call it. Just, sort of classic design. Now, these ones, Santa Maria Novella, actually come as a splash, and they supply the screw-on atomizer as well. So that's another thing with perfume bottles. I much prefer to have a bottle with a proper spray atomizer rather than a splash. Like I've got a bottle here that came as a splash, and I just decanted into a sprayer. I certainly I have avoided so far buying anything that has the puff sprays. I don't think many bottles actually get sold with those anymore, but I have heard that there is an evaporation problem with those. So that's one thing I like in a bottle, in a flacon. In terms of designs, there's a couple of when we're talking about design, for me, I'm talking about like a distinctive shape bottle, which immediately tells me I can tell what the brand is, what the house is, but it's also really kinesthetically pleasing to hold and look at and use. And for me, that is this current. I don't know if Hermes has a name for this particular design bottles, but I mean, we've all seen them, and a lot of their range actually come in this similar shape. So, Rocoba, Bellamy, Equipage Uranium, Equipage, Bellamy Vetiver, and then all the sort of the citrus line have this similar bottle. Only I can think of, there's a few other Hermes perfumes, but a lot of their bottles, a lot of their perfumes come in this particular shape. And to me, this tells me immediately it's an Hermes, but it's also really nice to hold. The cap stays in place and I can hold it by the cap. The sprays are okay. They're good. They're good in Hermes. I've got other bottles here with really good atomizers. But, you know, oh, wow, I just caught a whiff of Equipage Uranium. I love this perfume so much. Yeah, I just think they're really lovely. And you know, if I was going to put my perfumes on display, these would be like sitting on the top shelf, and I'd probably end up collecting all of them. But I'm not a collector, and I don't display my bottles. But I really like the Hermes bottles. What I'll mention now is I'm going to mention perfumes that I'm going to talk about Dior and Chanel and their exclusive lines. Like I think Dior's is called Maison Christian Dior. It used to be called the Privé collection, and Chanel's Les Exclusifs. And I find it really interesting. First of all, I am a fan of this sleek minimalist bottle that they use for Les Exclusifs. Christian Dior is basically the same in a cylindrical bottle. Both have magnetic caps, both have really good sprays. I mean, Christian Dior atomizers are on another level, I have found. But I think this is also on their part a pretty clever marketing tactic or strategy. I'm not sure how much of it is marketing, but what I think about when I look at an exclusives line with very, let's say, simplistic packaging, sleek lines, but you don't ever feel, even though these are relatively expensive perfumes, you never feel with Chanel in particular, and to a slightly lesser extent the Christian Dior line, that a lot of that price that you're paying is for the packaging. So you know, whether it's an unconscious thing, it's clever because probably unconsciously a lot of consumers will get an exclusive line bottle. It doesn't look anything special, but you feel like you're paying for the quality of the perfume. And you know, when it comes to these perfumes, on the whole, you probably are getting very good quality perfumes, but at least you don't feel like you're paying for a bottle with gold embossing and crystals in the cap and gold flakes in the juice. That to me is all a little bit extravagant, and I always feel like how much of this price that they're asking for is taken up by this extravagant packaging. Not to mention the boxes that they come in, or the I mean, some of these Killian boxes that those bottles come in are amazing, and I just always, in the back of my mind, think, what am I actually paying for, and how much of this is the quality of the actual juice inside those bottles? So, but the reason I'm holding my number 5 Eau de Cologne bottle is I just wanted to point out the similarities between this like 80s vintage style. I mean, Chanel, to be fair, their regular line doesn't deviate too much from the Les Exclusifs line, but I think they're beautifully elegant and simplistic. But when it comes to Christian Dior, I guess when we're talking about in comparison to Chanel, yes, their Maison Christian Dior line is white label, cylindrical, simple bottles, nice magnetic caps. But I find when it comes to their regular designer line, for me, they probably make the most beautiful, or they put their perfumes in the most beautiful flacons in the designer world. And a perfect example for me is always going to be Eau Sauvage. Now, this is the Eau Sauvage Parfum. The original one had a silver label, but I mean, this black one is, you know, pretty sexy looking bottle. Again, you know, like raised bottle, textured label, and this, you know, this kind of diagonal ribbing on the bottle. It's just a beautiful bottle. Then you've got this gorgeous magnetic cap. How satisfying is that? But Dior really just, the icing is in the sprayer, and you just have complete control over the amount that comes out, how long it comes out for. These are a pleasure to use and hold. And we're not talking about smells here. We're just talking about the aesthetic pleasure of looking at a bottle and holding it in your hand. And for me, Dior, Eau Sauvage, Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit is one of the most distinctive bottles out on the market. And even whatever you think of Sauvage, those blue bottles are beautiful bottles to look at and to use and hold. So Christian Dior in the designer world makes some of the most beautiful bottles and unbelievably good atomizers. When it comes to really good atomizers, though, I do want to mention Olfactive Studios, because this is the only Olfactive Studio perfume I have. This is Woody Mood. This is a 50ml bottle, but presumably the atomizers are going to be the same in all of their perfumes and sizes. But this is probably as good, if not a little bit better to use than the Dior, and that's saying something. It's, as much as I love the smell of this perfume, sometimes I get just as much pleasure actually spraying this on. And, you know, like you could just do a long, slow, like spray, and it feels like almost like a deodorant body spray control, and it's really, really good atomizer. And I think this nice clean design is really good as well. That's Olfactive Studios. When it comes to just a purely pretty looking bottle, you know, just the way it looks is really striking. There's a couple I want to mention, and that is, first of all, in particular, Amouage. Now, I think the Amouage women bottles, I prefer, in terms of looks, and in this case perfume, to the men's line. And this is Fate. Now, I don't know how well you're going to be able to pick this up on the camera because it's got light, but this is, they have a couple of perfumes with kind of this, I think it's called holographic colouring in the glass, and it's just so pretty to look at. And this is one case where the perfume really matches the bottle perfectly. And, you know, these newer Amouage come with a magnetic cap, and their spray is really good as well. So Amouage is one of those brands where you kind of are satisfied that the cost of them justifies what you get in the bottle as well as outside of the bottle. That's a very non-scientific conclusion that I'm drawing, but I feel like that with Amouage, that you're not really wasting too much of the money that you're paying for this bottle. Another bottle that I just wanted to mention, just because to me it's very striking, is Habanita, and it's really, you know, like it's almost a work of sculptural art, this flacon. And recently they came out with an anniversary edition that was red, basically this bottle but completely red. And I haven't seen it in person, but on the internet you can see pictures of it and it looks stunning. So that's Habanita from Molinard. And now I'm going to mention just a couple of bottle designs that I have issues with. The first one I'm going to talk about this is one of my favorite perfumes. It's Prada Amber Pour Homme Intense. Now, like just me holding it, it is such an awkward thing to hold because first of all, I don't even know if it comes in a smaller size, but this is 100 ml. It's almost the size of a bloody VHS cassette tape, if anyone still remembers those. And then when you're holding it, you really have to stretch your finger, or like it's just really a really awkward bottle to hold and use. So it might look snazzy and different, but it's very kind of impractical, sort of ugly to use bottle, the Prada Amber Pour Homme. And the other one which annoys me, I don't generally, I actually like the concept of Comme des Garcons, and I think they're based on a sort of smooth pebble design, but unless you get one of those plastic holders to keep them upright, I store this flat on its back, and it's taking up this much real estate in my limited room that I keep all my perfumes in. Otherwise, to actually hold and use, it's actually quite nice in your hands. This one purely is really just about everything else is standing upright, and this is in the middle of the space, just lying down like a lazy git. I think that's it. I'll mention one more because I have a few of these bottles, and I noticed the other day when I had them lined up together how lovely they look as a set. And this is purely just my taste. These Parfum D'Empire bottles, this current iteration of their design, I actually quite like the way the bottle shape is exactly the same. All the caps are gold. Each different perfume has got its own color label, so they look really nice. Like Frederic Malle perfumes look good as a set, but they all have the same color label. I like the fact that Parfum D'Empire do something like this to differentiate each of their perfumes with a different color label, but using the same bottles. It's just again, I like cylindrical bottles. Anything that feels good in the hand to use is a winner. And simple lines, I'm very easy to please when it comes to perfume bottles. And I guess it's almost unconsciously now, look at new perfumes that come out. If I see a bottle that looks very extravagant, and whether or not it is expensive or not, if it looks like the bottle cost a lot, I immediately wonder how much of this retail price am I paying for just the packaging and not the perfume. I would rather put the highest percentage of the money that I'm paying into whatever the perfume costs. If that means, if that ensures that, and the problem is we don't really always get to know this, but if it means that I'm paying for really good quality materials that went into the perfume, the time it's spent to develop, I don't mind that if I know that's the case. But I don't want in the back of my head to think, well, I just paid $300 for a bottle of perfume, and a lot of that was going to the packaging costs. So that is my little showcase and rant for the day. And I want to know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what your favorite bottles, what your favorite flacons are. If there's anything in particular you look for, are there deal breakers for you when it comes to a bottle, or as long as the juice is good, you don't really care? I don't care either. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all very soon. Bye.